We are ready to go.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. This time I'd like to call the October 18th Old Colony Planning Council Personnel Committee meeting to order. At this time, I'll read the accessibility statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these recommendations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chair, if you'd like, I'll do the roll call.
Sure. Thank you, Mary.
Chair Stephen Centisonio.
Present.
I know that Frank Staffier is not able to hear, but he's going to use his signal. Frank Staffier.
You did give us a thumbs up.
Thank you. And then we have Lee Hartman.
Present.
For staff, we got thumbs up. Thank you, Frank. For staff, besides myself, we have Charlie Kilmer, we have Megan Fournier, we have Elise Prince, and we have Sean Noel, and I know Brenda Robeson will be joining us.
Okay, that's roll call. Item number 4, we need to take an action on the May 30th Personnel Committee meeting minutes. Do we need to take a roll call on that or a vote?
So a motion would be needed and then a second.
Okay.
So Frank Staffier made the motion with his thumbs up, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I will second that.
And on the motion, Stephen Centisonio,
Accept.
Frank Staffier, and Lee Hartman.
Accept.
And that is unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And item number 5 is we're going to review the subsidized parking pass for staff members.
Yes. So, Mr. Chair, as we had talked about in the Finance Committee, and it was asked to bring it back to this Personnel Committee, because of more of the emerging situations with the security of downtown. As I mentioned, there's a number of places where staff park. Some have been parking at the parking garage, Adam Street, which is on the other side of City Hall. Some have been parking in the new Carpenter parking lot. Some use street parking because they're only here for an hour. And some had been parking across the street at the gas station. That tended to be the cheapest at $20 a month. The other parking lots and parking garages had either been $40 a month or $50 a month. But I had strongly encouraged for staff members to do not park along the MBTA parking lot at the gas station. It's still not safe or secured. So in chatting with a couple of the chair as well as the treasurer, I made a proposal to have some staff members, those who are choosing to have their parking passes at the Lincoln parking lot, which is behind our building. Normally it's $50, and to have it be subsidized at $20. That's the $20 that they were paying across the street. And so they continue to pay. So we have instituted that. And I think it was John Costa who brought up at the finance meeting the question about whether it's seen as a benefit to the staff. And since that is where we are today. So I just wanted to that's the history behind it. And we do have the funding available. And I will tell you that it has been warmly received by the staff members, and they do feel safer.
Is that available to everyone, or is there like a cap?
It is available to any staff member who has an interest. So I will tell you across the board. So someone like Richard Henry, who is he is full-time, but he is mostly on the road. He doesn't utilize it. Lila Burgess doesn't utilize it. And then there are some staff members who have opted out, that they are paying on their own and they have not accepted the subsidized, but it's been offered to everyone.
think that's, I mean, it's a great benefit. I mean, like I said, you said the safety and that garage, I mean, it's apparently more safe. Otherwise, I don't think anybody would use it. So, I mean, I'd have no problem adding it to the benefits handbook. I mean, in some way,
Yeah.
One question?
Mhm.
So, what does the city do with
The
their
city-
employees?
City employees get free parking, but I believe that it is negotiated by their union.
Oh, so who pays, so is there a parking, authority? Is it the city that does it? I'm just wondering if there's some way, because you're almost quasi city, you have a tight relationship, whether there's some way to approach them to see if there's some way you can piggyback on that too. Just a question.
We asked Megan, in fact, so it is, if there is a parking authority, we asked actually for a discount because we had so many coming over, and they reneged on our request. I had not approached the mayor or the city council to ask if we could be considered. And I'm not shameful at all about asking, so.
Well, you also have the cover to say that the committee asked to have you
Yep,
request
do.
too, so that you're not, so maybe it's just say, look, we have my personnel committee, we're talking about this issue, and they've asked me to approach you, and then that way it's not, it gives you a little cover. Not that you need cover, but could. But yeah,
But-
I agree. I agree with Steve. I think, it's a small benefit. It's a good one to give. I can tell you from my experience, I used to hate having to try to figure out what to do when I went to meetings and figure out how to park there. So I could only imagine what it's like as an employee.
And I wish I could say that it's gotten safer around here, but it's not, and it continues to monitor it from lots of different ways, so. But I will, for the action item, I mean, we didn't really have it for this, but what I will do on the basis of the personnel committee, I will reach out to the city / mayor / parking authority to ask on behalf of the number of employees to see if we would be considered.
I think you're going to ask on behalf of the council because we're the
Yes,
ones
correct.
making the
Me too.
request
Correct.
and on behalf of yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I
In a
will.
very, what a weird way. I'm ready to make a motion whenever the discussion is done.
I just have one quick thing. How is parking over there? Is it all like, is everybody who takes advantage of this is gonna get a spot over there, or is it parking tight, or I'm just
So,
curious.
It's interesting because Megan had, either Megan or Sean had communications with the parking authority that after, because we had a new staff member join us and she was the last one to get in. They are capping us on not having any more spaces, even though the parking lot, so these spaces are just for the Lincoln parking lot right behind our building, not for the parking garages. And that's been capped.
Hmm.
So even if we get a new member who comes in, they're not gonna be able to go there. So parking, like I said, there's I don't have the breakdown, Sean or someone else may, but there's a couple staff members who do park in the garage. Again, that's on the other side of City Hall. And then I believe there aren't anybody else who parks over in the Carpenter parking lot. So Charlie has input.
Could there, I mean, I was gonna, could there, like, say the people here capped and say if anybody above and beyond comes work for the council and wants to take advantage of that, but can't, couldn't they work out something with some of the people who do have that advantage now? Where, like if they're working in a hybrid environment, they're only coming in 2 days, the other person's coming in 2 days and sort of switch off
Yeah,
type of
well,
thing?
so that would be a very reasonable accommodations, but the parking authority has assigned numbers per license plate.
Oh, okay.
And that is how it becomes a little bit more challenge. So just Sean and Megan, just correct me because I know you've been dealing with them before.
Yep.
Charlie.
Mary, this is Megan. So it's just, they're capping us at the Lincoln lot, but if somebody else wants, we could get them into the Adams garage or the Carpenter garage. I also plan on saying if we get one more person, just trying to, knuckle in because they
Right.
could be reasonable, because again, the lot has never been more than half full in the 2 years that I have been here.
Right.
So, and I know a big thing was that WB Mason employees during COVID, like they would take over the lot, but I don't think that they're ever planning on coming back to the full extent. So I don't really know what they're holding out for.
Thank you, Megan. I know,
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, go ahead.
I can also say that, I mean, I had 3 different cars there this week. I'm not sure, I'm not sure how much they're tying our numbers directly to a license plate. I had to put my car in the shop, so, and then I borrowed my wife's car and I borrowed Frank's car for a couple of days, so, like I said, I just kept the same pass, so I'm not sure if we were sharing passes, how much that might be an issue, but
I don't think they would notice that much, because I'm the same too. Every Wednesday I take Brendan's car, so I switch the pass out, but they technically say it can't be, shared between people, but it's still, yes, it's something that needs to be.
Thank you, Megan and Sean. I know Charlie has a comment, Mr. Chair.
To Lee's point about going to them like as the council, couldn't we go to them and say, hey, I mean, we noticed, we're very observant. We noticed that this parking garage is never more than half full at any given time. We do have situations where people have to take different cars for whatever reason, is there any way, just in case they do come back at one point and say, hey, over the past couple of months, we noticed, we gave you 15 slots, but we noticed a total of 30 different cars assigned to your, assigned to the council have been here at any given time. They renege on their offer. I don't know. I'm being a devil's advocate here, but.
I think we'll do is take it first with a letter, see what they're able to do, communicate, and then continue to keep working with them. So I know Charlie had a comment.
Well, so I've been parking in the Adams garage for many years, and it's never more than half full right now. So it's not we're not technically, for the parking authority isn't pushing anybody away. It's just where they're parking, So the overflow would go to the Adams garage. The difference with the garages is they're more expensive than the surface lot. It's 55, not 50. So, and you use like a key card pass, like a proximity swipe card. So it doesn't matter what vehicle you drive. But as I remember it in the past, I don't know if they've changed it, but the passes they pass out now for the Lincoln Street lot, do they write the license plate number on the pass?
No, they do not, but there's like numbers assigned to a person.
Yeah.
So it's not the license, it's just like the specific code.
Yeah, so it seems like they really don't connect it to a specific vehicle,
Well, and
as far as enforcement is concerned,
well, and for the most part, the enforcement folks, without having to spend too much more time on this, they know us, they see us, we're good. We're not hanging around and doing things after work. We're just getting in our car. So, so I think just for the strategy in terms of where we are with this is that to communicate to the city/parking authority and see what other resolutions and partnership that we could have with them.
Yeah, do we add into the handbook that, this is a benefit that could be kind of
I think
taken away
we-
at any given time, like,
I think-
possibly.
I think no matter what, there's probably going to be a stipend. So I mean, my recommendation, once we're done talking again, is to make the motion to add it in anyway.
Yeah.
Because there'll be always a cost at some point. Maybe it'll just be reduced.
And I think we're done talking, Mr.
All right, I move that we add the provision to provide for a stipend for parking to the bylaw.
I second that.
And on the motion, so I will go with Stephen Santasonia,
Accept.
Frank Staffier,
We got a thumbs up.
thank you, and Lee Hartman.
Accept.
Thank you, everybody. And then the next item, Stephen, the review of.
Next item is,
Yeah.
we're gonna remove, excuse me, we're gonna review the parking lot items. In from the staff, personnel handbook for amendments.
Thank you. So one of the things that as we do on an ongoing basis, there is this, we have it in our SharePoint, asking staff members to keep looking at throughout the year, it doesn't matter, and to look at the handbook, offer some suggestions. So these are new items as of August 8th. Phone policy, when to have the phone on you and ready to respond, bring home with you. Just one of the things is that we, lots of staff, we not only are having our own personal phones, we have our OCPC phone, but that's as if we're having a desk phone. We really want to include that into the policy that we need staff to be ready to respond. We've had a couple instances where that hasn't happened, and
I agree. It definitely, I mean, if you're giving them out, that's the point of it. That's the whole point. It's you need to get someone in touch with someone on Sunday night for whatever reason. And it's expect them, expect may not be pick up, but at least have it with them, so.
And again, sometimes things happen, right? People move fast, people need to leave the office quickly, mistakes happen. It's human to be error, but we really want to drive home the fact that asking folks to bring their phones, be ready to respond.
So are you talking about personal phones and office phones or just the office phone?
Just the office phone.
Okay. And is that like a 24/7? So I know like for me, I'm on 24/7. My phone goes, I got to check it. You never know what it is, but I would not expect that from, say, my administrative assistants,
That's
that
correct.
having them, if they want to, fine, but not expecting that except for during normal working hours.
Normal working hours is what we're looking for.
Okay. And so yeah, it doesn't say that in your little note here, just that's probably what would be. Yeah. So obviously you'll have that in to the
Mhm,
language.
correct. And Charlie has his hand up, Stephen.
Right, so the expectation is, like you said, is business hours, normal stuff. We're not a 911 call center, so nobody's asking everybody to be on call 24/7.
Except for you, Charlie.
Well, I'm an outlier in many ways, but the idea here is like, I'll give you an example of kind of why this came up is, say you got somebody in the office 5 days a week and they keep the phone in the office. So they're obviously, being super responsive and being able to respond, but the situation arises periodically where somebody might be out because their kid is sick. So they're going to work remote, but they don't have their work phone with them, and that might turn into 2 days. So technically you have 2 days of inaccessibility at their work number. And, I don't think it's too much to ask somebody to bring their work phone home with them to be ready for a circumstance like that. If, golly gee whiz, we're going to be paying them for the 2 days that they're looking out for the kid at home,
And so
I don't think that's too much to ask.
So for us putting this in our personnel handbook, because it was a silent issue, and at least we're going to put this in there so it's part of the expectations for staff. And I think that one particular instance, the staff member has really been following up on it. But now again, it's not about one particular, it's making sure that in our personal handbook that it's clear about what we expect all staff to do.
I mean, the phone's a privilege, and but there should be stipulations attached, to it that you should have it on you, but we're not expecting you to drop everything, for whatever. But if situations arise that you need to, above and beyond normal working hours, that we need to get in touch with you or something,
Yep.
Yeah, and even if you're busy, they can send a text to you to say,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll get right back to you. I'm
Yeah.
on another call. But yeah, like the word promptly, and I don't know if you need to define it more than that, but with an expectation that phone calls are returned promptly.
That's right.
Just question, Mary Ann, like, do the staff have laptops to take home with them?
They do.
And do you get calls on them? Like, cause I can, like right now I'm talking on my laptop, like I'm talking to you, like I don't have my phone, I'm talking on my laptop, like just in case if someone, like a situation when someone did leave their phone in the office, but took their laptop home, I mean.
So on our phone, so they have laptops, and most of our meetings are Teams related.
Okay, so,
But the teams are also on their phones
right,
as well. So there are ways,
yeah,
but
okay.
sometimes, right? So, and we're trying to regulate in terms of, when using Teams for communicating and not using text so it does become available whether you are on your laptop or on your phone, so.
Okay, yeah. We all
So
set
we
with
will-
So
that?
do you need any kind of motion to that, or are you gonna come back with final language, or what's your thought, Mary?
My thought is that we're going to come up with final language to be added into, but
Right.
it will be around this, and my hope is, you know, actually, what I would recommend on this is, rather than us having to have another personnel meeting, we will tighten up this language with the intent of being prompt and having to be responsive.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
that's
what I would do is, I'll make the motion now. You can take it or table it if there's more discussion, but my motion would be to add the policy, subject to having the policy reviewed by the chair with the director prior to adding it in. So that way we voted, we say we're okay with it. We'll just have the chair take a quick review of it, and then assuming that's okay, that it goes on record. If not, then we can bring it back for further discussion.
And Frank has his hand raised. I'm assuming that's the
He's
second.
seconding that. Yes, that's his second, right, Frank?
Double, great.
Thanks, Frank.
And so on the motion, Stephen Santisonio,
Accept.
Lee Hartman,
Accept.
and Frank Staffier. Thank you.
Okay, item number 2, should we change Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples' Day? I'm just gonna make a quick little side comment. Let me guess, there was one person who probably brought this up, but that's just me. That's just.
So, right, we are in the Old Colony Planning Council that has a number of residents who are of Native American. So many of us in our away message either refer to it as Indigenous Peoples' Day and or Columbus Day. So
Couldn't we just put slash, like, I mean, you have like 4th of July / Independence Day. I mean, people use it interchangeably. Couldn't it be kind of like on the calendar, like official calendar in the handbook? Be like Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples' Day, rather than changing it completely, or?
it could be, and I just didn't know whether if there was, and my apologies, I didn't know if there was a consistency with any other organization, regional planning.
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought. Follow what the state says. What does the state do? We do what the state does.
And I believe
that-
it still has it as Columbus Day. I don't think they have it as Indigenous
Huh.
Day.
Well, then forget it. Never mind.
Yeah, I believe when we were discussing this, it was that we found the language was Massachusetts used Columbus Day, but should we change it?
We will stick with what the state.
No, I think Steve's right. I think we can list both. And then follow if the state changes something and goes to just Indigenous Peoples' Day, we would do that too. But at this point, I think you just kind of list it as both until the state changes the official designation.
And just because these are changes to the handbook, so if we could have that in a form of a motion.
I'll make that, I'm sorry, I'll make that, Bradley, so I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm seconding for you this
Okay,
time.
okay,
And on the motion, Stephen Santisonio,
accept.
Lee Hartman,
Yes.
and Frank Staffier. Thank you.
Motion accepted. Item number 3, part-time staff working on a holiday. What is the policy? I thought this was already addressed in the handbook to a degree on, I think, page 22.
Yeah, so it is to a degree. So here's our challenge that we have, and it's really only with the area agency on aging. So we have one particular staff person who works part-time, 13 hours a week. And because of the limitation of the time, she often feels that she needs to work on a holiday to address the needs of the customers within the nursing home. I have said that because if she works a holiday, then there is the implementation, it has to get prior approval, and then it's at a different rate. So it really is only one instance. This is why it's been brought up. I don't know, Elise or Megan, if this has been brought up with Lisa at all, but my comment is it really is just because no other really part-time staff member works on a holiday, except for the AAA.
And so what are you suggesting we do?
My suggestion is that we make every effort to have our part-time staff not work a holiday.
Mhm.
That is my recommendation.
I mean,
And
is it a preference that that person work on the holiday for whatever reason, or is it required that they, for whatever reason, like that's the only time they can get to that whoever they're trying to, work with, or?
so the particular person usually works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think, or so her 13 hours are.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
Mm.
And so with that, it's not often, but it does happen. I think it was like probably 4th of July, if I remember right, with a particular holiday, and
Or Thanksgiving, yeah.
or it could be like I really pushed back.
I mean, that's just the luck of the draw. I mean, I think, unless they can work another day and like in lieu of, instead of working Thursday, Thanksgiving, they work Friday, day after Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Are you saying, Mary, are you saying they have additional compensation because they have to work on that holiday?
That is what our personnel policy says.
Yeah. So they're getting compensated. They're just, what would they want? I'm a little confused about what they would want.
Sean Noel has a little bit more history on this because it is a AAA staff member. Sean?
So a lot of this is generated by the fact that she is, part of the ombudsman staff visiting our long-term care facilities. And, her feeling is that, if I have the opportunity to go spend some time with these people on Christmas or Thanksgiving or those types of family holidays with somebody who may not have family, that she would like to do that. I do know that like most of the Monday holidays are unaffected. There's really no need. As a matter of fact, she normally doesn't work on Monday. She usually has some other commitment. So it really kind of falls to the family type holidays where she wants to try and maybe, be with some of her clients. In terms of her actually working on the holiday and receiving additional pay, we have not increased her pay for any holidays that have been worked, at least not in the last year and a half that I've been doing payroll. But I honestly couldn't tell you if any one of those holidays she actually worked. And certainly she's never being forced to.
It's a slippery slope, I think, if you start, when she says, well, I want to go visit this person on Thanksgiving because they don't have any. And I mean, it's a nice gesture, but, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So again, because we have a unique staffing because of AAA and some of the other things, my recommendation is that we do not change the policy, that we have the manager work with the staff member and about not working on a holiday, and specifically just because of the dueness of having it be a time and a half and the extra compensation, and potentially revisit this if we find that it's a continual issue. But I think it's a management of staff. But I wanted to bring it again. None of these are really been filtered or taken off. I promise the staff that I'm not going to do that. These are directly from staff that we're bringing directly to you.
Right.
But with my recommendation, I think for the next time we do this, Megan, I probably should put in there a preview of what I'm recommending and why. So go ahead.
I'm still struggling to try to figure out what she wants, or if it's a she, he or she, what they would like. So let's just say that we're okay. It's Christmas and she's going to go or he's going to go on Christmas to visit a client. What is it that they're looking for?
I think the person wants to work.
Yeah.
Get the overtime.
And at a regular time.
Hmm.
But our policy only allows for if they work with prior approval on a holiday. It has to be with prior approval. And our policy also says for the compensation.
Says what was that compensation piece? The last piece you said?
It's with the additional compensation, the time and a half. But Megan, you were going to say, and I know Charlie has his hand raised.
Yes, sorry, I can't see anyone because I'm driving. But I'm wondering, I've only been on the very outside of these conversations, but I don't think that she necessarily wants anything. I think it's just been brought up that couple of times where it's happened. wondering, but could we just change the wording where it's just if that part-time staff member chooses to work on a holiday, they can then use another day as a floating holiday or something. So then technically they still get that holiday time without having to feel like we have to pay them a holiday pay. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that was kind of my question too, similar to what Megan's saying. It's like, so is this person normally 13 and a half hours a week? Say they do that on a holiday week, but then on a holiday, they actually go in and spend 4 hours. So then basically would you pay them 17.5 hours for the week? And as far as I know, we don't pay time and a half to anybody on a holiday anyway. So I don't think that's even a question, right?
I don't, to be honest, but I don't have it right in front of me. I should know it by heart, but I don't. So.
And I meant more that they could then take, if they worked 4 hours on the holiday, then they choose to take 4 hours off on a different day than they typically work.
With the manager's approval.
Yeah.
Does she always work the same days, Sean? Is she like standard, so specific days?
The one consistent day that she usually doesn't work is Monday, because like I said, I think she does something else.
So she does
so-
float around. It's not like she's
Yeah,
scheduled
usually
to
her-
work every
her
single
hours-
Thursday or whatever it is.
Right now, her hours are usually spread over 3 days between Tuesday and Friday.
Okay, and we've never paid time and a half for overtime
No.
ever, no,
No.
or holidays or anything else ever.
Right.
Okay. So with that said, I almost feel like it should be, if she chooses to work on a day that's a holiday for whatever reason, like what Megan was saying, that she can maybe, take the holiday off on a different day, but where she only works 13 hours a week, I don't know why that would even be an issue. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, the 5 days a week does not add up to 13. So she
Right.
could-
Well, it would be a matter of holiday hours, not necessarily a day.
I mean, I don't think she should get into overtime. I mean, it basically is
I
what you're
agree.
saying is if she works 4 hours on Thanksgiving, then if she normally was scheduled to work a Tuesday for 7 hours, then means she only has to work 3 to kind of even it out there, If she's only working a total of 13 hours, no matter what,
Right.
And
That's-
I want to make sure it's really clear. This particular staff person, the only reason why she's looking to do this is because she has the person in the nursing home at why, it is for that customer, for that elder person. So I'm going to request this, is that let us work with the manager where it is at this point. I'm going to ask that we pause this one. Let's rework it. We will meet, I would say, after the first of the year, to see how many times there will be this, and we'll come up with a specific recommendation. Let us rework this.
Okay. Or do we have to vote on that, or can we just move on?
I think you can just move on.
Okay, all right. With that said, I'll move on to number 4, with respectful request that the bereavement policy be reconsidered to include extended family. And you can read that, what extended family includes. I don't know.
If I can jump in, I don't like this. It gets to be slippery.
Yeah.
You have earned time, you have vacation time.
Yeah, where
vacation-
does it end, Yeah.
And the bereavement is really there for that close family to give you something, should you need it for your close family. But I think once you get beyond that immediate family,
Yeah.
aunts and uncles, grandparents, I think that's what vacation time is for.
And you have people with big families, I mean, that really gets spread out, people are gonna be out of the office like, several times a month.
Well, you probably only have a certain number of days, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
if I have
bereavement
3
policy is
mothers,
3 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
so it's
Right.
3 days, and it would kind of be your choice
Right.
which people you use those 3 days. And once the
Okay.
3 days are up, you would be picking someone else. But
Good point, yeah.
I'm kind of
Just-
I'm hesitant.
Just
So
Just
my
to put some
recommendation,
framework on this, we did actually have somebody request this for pets.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did. That's been on there and that's been taken up. We dealt with that in the past. My recommendation is that we do not move forward on this and
Yeah,
that we
I
will
agree,
work
I
with
agree.
the staff that they plan. I mean, obviously, no one plans for any kind of situation in their family, but that there is vacation time that's available to them. And in fact, if there's someone who has not accumulated a lot of time, there is always this ability to work with managers. If it's a fiscally challenged situation. So
Yep.
It's like any other time, like you just have to manage it. You get X amount of time, just have to learn how to manage it, you know?
So I would just leave this one. And unless, I think we'll just say that at this point.
No action.
No
Yeah,
action, correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. So moving on to number 5, fitness, wellness reimbursement. Is there any subsidies available for things such as gym membership, etc.?
My understanding, and again, my apologies for not digging deeper into this, and I promise you it won't happen next time, but my understanding is under the GIC that there is some subsidy from the GIC for membership.
Mary, sorry, I know who submitted this, and I think that the question is that if you're on like your significant other's insurance, I know that some of the GIC anyone has access to, but I wasn't sure. It's not me, but we weren't sure if it's something where you have to have the insurance policy to be able to use it. Because if not, then it means that you
Right.
don't necessarily have that benefit if you're on someone else's insurance. If that makes sense.
Nope, it does make sense. I'm
How
speechless
do
only
they get
because-
that benefit? Do they have to go online or is there like how do they do they know about this benefit or?
Charlie?
Well, I was gonna say, it seems like we're kind of splitting hairs here. I mean, we had a discussion earlier about the parking.
Mhm.
If we were gonna all of a sudden pay $20 a month to people for a gym membership, why don't we just put that into the parking instead,
Yeah, you-
instead of having like,
you-
a bunch of different small subsidies, right?
You're saying they can make their choice? Do you want a parking spot each day or you want a gym?
I
you
think-
want a little bit
I
towards
think
the gym membership?
the intent is great, and to have people, practice wellness and go to gyms and live a healthy lifestyle, but I think to the point where you have health insurance plans, and if that's partially covered through that,
Yeah.
I mean, I think people tend to lose sight of
Hmm.
the fact that OCPC pays 80% of their health insurance, and that's a big number as it is. I mean, how much more do people actually want? It seems a little
I
I appreciate the ask, but
say we table this one too, you know?
I'd say
just-
so, and let's also take a look at the fiscal impact and there's lots of different reasons why one takes a benefit or not, and but also let's take a look at the fiscal impact on OCPC.
My only other thought is if you had a poll of how many people were interested, if you have 5 or 6 people interested, maybe you could go to a fitness center and ask them for a group discount.
Yeah.
But that would only be, I'm gonna guess that you're not gonna have more than 1 or 2 people who would say that they want this.
But I think to your point, Lee, let's investigate this a little bit more, see about if there's a group rate, if they offer, for nonprofit organizations, those kind of things. So we'll look into this. So we'll table this one, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last but not least, number 6, could there be a possibility of making Veterans Day a flex holiday? The option to take the day after Thanksgiving off instead?
Here's my recommendation is no. Veterans Day is a very important day. To be respectful of veterans, and while I understand there's a lot more organizations that may be open on Veterans Day rather than the Friday after Thanksgiving, but my recommendation is a no, but that's for discussion for the board members.
I agree with you, Mary. I work in the like my days off are tied to the stock market, and we don't get Veterans Day, so, and I always wondered why not, but,
Well, and here's the other thing. We also have someone like Frank Scappier, who is a veteran, and that's not just only because of Frank, but there are many others, and kind of message does that send? So,
Well,
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and Veterans Day is a state holiday.
Looking at what happens like in my office, I know that there'd be you want to have some level of management in at the same time, and that when you do that and it's at somebody's option and you have 3 people in the office, you're probably not going to get the same productivity that you get when everybody's supposed to be there.
Right.
Or at least I know in my staff that's what would happen.
Think for yourself, right?
so it sounds like we're gonna leave this one as is.
Yeah.
And I agree, so.
And that is all
Yeah.
that we have.
Right.
Right? Are there any other, just, I think, Megan or Elise or anybody else? I think that's, okay. Those are the ones that we addressed already, right?
So Mary, at this point, you're gonna kind of like add some language to some of the items that we spoke about and then come back and we'll take a deeper dive into that.
Correct. I'm actually going to go to you, Mr. Chair. Under the discussions that happened, we'll, if you and I have some differences of language, then we'll bring it back to the full committee.
Okay.
And Mary, as I always get kind of concerned about workload for you and Charlie, anyone else. So just, also make sure that just because we've said that this doesn't become your big priority and you start chasing these things down, it's really based on your availability of time, and not, I don't think we have an expectation that we want to see some kind of response ourselves. Put it on the list.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Lee. And we're not getting staff members banging down our door asking,
Right.
Where are we with this? I do appreciate the fact their honesty, and we're not judging. And it really isn't fair. We should not be judging what one wants to. If
Yep.
someone is showing interest. And as we get into younger staff members, their demands are much different than someone like me at 63, right?
Yeah.
So I know that we're in a good environment. I think, without having me to say it, between Elise and Megan and Charlie and Brenda and Sean, they can speak just as easily as I can. But we'll continue to put these items on and break away at them and we'll do that. Go ahead.
And like I said with the parking one, just say that the committee's asked for more information. So it's not you being the person who's saying, whatever, that you brought it up to them and they want me to provide some more information, so that you're not the one who has to just say, well, no.
That would be helpful from my chair and being close to many of the Brockton people.
Just so you won't be the bad guy, we'll be the bad guy.
Yeah, and you can just, hey, I wanted to do this, but that Hartman guy.
You know how he is.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, I got some of these items that people suggested. Are there any ones that kind of off the wall suggestions that you may have got that didn't make the list?
No,
I
they
can
all make the
imagine.
list.
Oh, yeah, okay.
As I said, I think it's really important for me not to change any of these items. What I probably should have did, and I will the next time we do this, is that we internally meet and then put recommendations through, right? Put some further research into it. It's been a little bit nutty with a lot of things, but the next time we do this, we'll do a little bit deeper dive so we can vet it out. And
Are these filtered up through the managers, or they just come directly to you or
they're
Megan?
coming directly. They come directly to a parking lot.
Okay.
No pun intended, but they come to a parking lot for folks to feel like what they want to.
Okay.
And we can definitely certainly filter it through, but I think it's important that they have direct contact about what they feel.
I just like always encourage people to be reasonable. Like if they're gonna sell, don't ask for the world.
Right.
I mean, just be reasonable. Think of the big picture, when you're asking for something.
Yep.
And I
Mary,
think this is a. No, go ahead.
Mary, are there other regional planning agencies even in New England who are unionized?
Good question. I don't know.
Now, it's always in the back of my head that, whenever we look at these things, and I think we did it until it fell apart in Plymouth, is that the last thing you want to do is to do something then that they feel like they need to unionize and that they get better benefits if they unionize, because again, there are benefits to a union, but from a management standpoint, it does create some challenges. So again, trying to make sure that we're flexible and we don't create a unionized environment, which will really change the way we do business and you do. I think that's
Most
always
certainly.
something to keep in mind. And again, not to badmouth unions, but to just say that from a management standpoint does add a new perspective. So as we look at these things, and the last thing we want to do is all of a sudden find out that they're looking to unionize, and then we have to collective bargain and bring
Yeah.
all of what we do now to a whole different level.
Whole different level,
You have to get legal involved in everything, you know.
right?
Right.
Mr. Chair, I think Charlie had a comment.
Sorry, I didn't see you, Charlie.
Well, no, I was just gonna say about the parking lot, the nice thing about it is that what's presented to you, the committee, is unfiltered and unedited. You know, it's not our interpretation of what somebody
Yeah.
said, so it's kind of like the raw comment from the staff. And, you know, I think that's a real testament to the open line of communications from the staff to a committee such as this. And, you know, we're not offering our interpretation of what somebody was thinking about, asking about. So this is kind of like the raw data, if you will. So
Okay.
I just thought it's a nice way to do it.
Well, that's all I believe we have, Mr. Chair and members.
So I will make a motion to adjourn.
Yes. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, staff. Great job.
Thank you, everybody. We
you.
appreciate your time.
Great talking, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
See everybody later.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.